Alright. Hello, guys. It's Nightwing, Way of Life Esports, coming at you guys with another League of Legends video. So, today, I'm going to be predicting the LEC Week 2 matches. Yes, so, but the original subscribers know all about this. So, for the LCS, LCK, and the LEC, I predict the matches. And now for my podcast, I'll most likely designate the LCS match predicting on there, but I'll still most likely predict the LCS matches in solo video form, because as you guys know, I don't like my opinion to conflict with theirs, because it's their time to shine on the podcast. It's their time to talk. But let's talk about LEC Week 2. So we have a lot of rather interesting games, because there's oh man, these games kind of suck. I'm not gonna lie. If you're actually watching these live, I'd probably ask for a refund, because I think the match of the week, to me personally, is Origin versus Rogue. These are two teams that I have very highly. I think these teams are easily top 4 material. A lot of people have Origin in their first place right now in their LEC power rankings, and for good measure, right? And for good, obviously they deserve it. They played really well week 1. They won drafts. They played macro correctly. They stomped what was considered the second best team from the offseason, which was Fnatic. And Rogue didn't look as clean as Origin, but you do have to kind of factor in that most likely is because of they just got a really good AD carry, so adjusting to him is obviously a lot different than, obviously playing weak side with Hikyu and Woolite. So just give them a bit of time. Rogue is a good team. We already saw them start 2-0, and the narrative for this week going into the LEC is who will stay undefeated. And I think that my boys G2 will stay undefeated, because Rogue is about to witness their first loss of the year to Origin. I'm going to predict Origin for this match. They looked better than Rogue during their 2-0 week. They looked like they had a lot more going for them in terms of wanting to accelerate the game pace. Rogue played rather slow, but still more calculated and effective. And I feel like if Origin don't get a sizable early game lead like they did in this last week, then I think that they could lose to Rogue. I'm not saying they can't overall get beaten by Rogue in general, because I do think that both of these teams are, in the top 4 from my own personal opinion. But I do also notice that Origin's players are just a little bit more better. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Origin on this one. SK Gaming versus Misfits. Misfits look completely horrible. They should be ashamed that they are even on stage. And people think I'm actually trolling when I said that. No, watch their games. They look so bad. They just look completely out of sorts. Hopefully this week they fix whatever issues they actually have. And before they do that, I can't give them any credit. All they have is Febivin, and he's been on a downward trend since last year when he was on Misfits. So I don't know why he would stay on that team. But it makes sense, because a lot of the EU veterans have talked about that the scene wants to try out a lot of more rookies. And that makes sense for the future, because, these older players are not going to play forever. So at one point, you might want to actually get some rookie talent. And EU can produce their own talent. So, why not play your rookies and see where they can actually take you? So SK actually didn't look too bad, from their week 1. Having players like Sakurai and Jinax and players like Trick actually made it a lot more better. I feel like Trick gave the team a lot more cohesion than Selfmade did last year, but that's only from a week 1 perspective. So I think that SK will take this pretty handily. I mean, Misfits look horrible. Vitality versus G2. Vitality are a little bit better than Misfits right now, because looking at their what would you call it? Not bot side, their top side. Their new mid laner, it was the backup mid laner they played over Jizuke last year. What is his name? Skeens or Can or something? Like I said before, all the new EU rookie players, I'm sorry if I get your names wrong. I will get them right at one point. It's a lot of new rookies, guys. Give me a chance here. So their top side of the map is pretty good. The new jungler and new mid laner they have are actually pretty cohesive by how they moved around the map. Cabochard was playing pretty fine. He's always really good, though, and it's so sad he chooses to put himself on Vitality. I just don't understand why he does that, but G2 shouldn't have no real problem with Vitality. Let's be honest here, guys. Vitality looked almost just as bad as Misfits, except their players wanted to play League of Legends. So, my boys G2 are staying undefeated. Alright, so XL versus Mad Lions. I liked what I saw out of Mad Lions. They got an early game lead against G2, which not a lot of people can do, and you saw a lot of the rookies, really start to explode, but they lacked the discipline that it takes to win at that point. Normally, if you get 5 kills early on, you're like 6,000 gold approaching ahead. You should be winning the game, but G2 weren't really losing the game because, you saw the gold differentials on the map. It was pretty even all the way around. I think that XL looked pretty good in general, though XL has the better players from these rookies, and as we see these rookies on Mad Lions develop, I can easily see these players, being in top spots in their position. I'm serious about that. I really think these rookies are good, and the thing with XL is that how do you normally pair up with, Tor and Patrick? Should be a pretty good bot lane so far as of what we saw, and Mickey has this issue of being kind of irrelevant. And I think the Humanoid is just the much better player. So I'm going to give that mid lane edge to Mad Lions. But looking at everywhere else, what's the guy's name? Is Shadow on Vitality? Whoever their jungler was for Mad Lions played a pretty good Lee Sin game. But right now, the jungle looks, horrible for League in general. Like, jungle position is just so bad right now. But I think that this match is all going to come down to the bot lanes, actually. And I'm going to actually give it to, XL or Mad Lions. I don't know, actually. I'll give it to XL right at this moment. Because I do think Mad Lions are good, but I think their problem is that they're just not up to the competition of how to actually play macro yet. But that could actually, change with the up-and-coming weeks so far. Oh my god. Something was up in my ear, destroying me. Alright, so Schalke No Fear versus Fnatic. Also a pretty good marquee matchup if you really think about it. Fnatic are 1-1. Schalke started 0-2. I'm pretty sure Schalke starts 0-3. Fnatic looked a lot better in their win against Misfits, but it was against Misfits, and you do have to kind of take that with a grain of salt. I think that Fnatic are still really strong. They're as I've always said about G2 and Fnatic, their worst enemies is themselves. And against Schalke, a lot of what people said about Schalke is actually pretty true. They are kind of one-trick ponies, man. They play like the same. These players have played the same champions for quite some time. I think Abadage has a decently diverse champion pool from what I've seen so far, but if Schalke want to beat Fnatic, they need to beat them early on, like Origin did, to the point where it's not going to matter if Fnatic even try to crawl their way back into the game. So that's the only edge I'll give Schalke, because we saw that later on during the game. Schalke just really didn't have the overall keen macro sense that Fnatic has had when they started losing. So I think that Fnatic will take this away and start with a positive win record for their LEC 2020 Spring Split. Alright, so that's on Thursday, which is literally tomorrow. And now you have... this is on... Yeah, I'm right. This is tomorrow. The heck is going on with me? Then you have the next day of matchups. Oh my god. These matches, you guys should probably ask for your money back. But it's okay. Ooh, that last matchup is spicy though. This day is actually pretty easy. So, as you guys have already heard me before, I think that Misfits are still horrible. Nothing's changed. Like, go watch their games. They all literally get on stage and eat their ass off. XL, win. Mad Lions versus Schalke, really interesting matchup right here. And it depends. You have the hot-headed rookies versus a lot of the older veterans, outside of, Abadage in general. But, I'm going to say Mad Lions beats them. I think Schalke, the way they looked when they had no team cohesion, could easily start off, literally 0-4. I wouldn't be too surprised if Schalke started off 0-4, but... do I give them their first win here against Mad Lions? I don't know yet. Because it really depends on how you look at the matchup. They have decent lanes all the way around for both parties. Yeah, I'll give it to Mad Lions. I think they can actually beat Schalke. Rogue versus Vitality, I think that's just a wash for Vitality. I think that's a wash for Rogue. They just destroy them in most positions. I think that these rookie teams... for like Vitality with the rookies in order to really improve, and like Misfits, they need to actually put together a cohesive game plan for the rookies to actually follow the veterans about. So, you know, if you need to work on macro, micro, objective control, lanes, all those other things, the veterans should be able to tell these rookies about what actually has to happen at specific part of the games. Just depends, obviously. Fnatic versus SK. Now, back in the day, this was like the TSM versus Cloud9, the SKT versus KT. It's been too long since SK was considered even relevant at this point. I think Fnatic kind of just walk away with this game pretty easily. Last spring, if you guys didn't remember, Selfmade was on SK, and I think Whipple called for a remake, and then they lost 2 best of ones in the same day. Oh, that was hilarious. And then they lost to SK again, so they essentially went 0-3 against SK for the spring split. Oh my goodness, that's crazy. But I think that this Fnatic squad is going to be able to beat SK pretty handily. I mean, you have Selfmade going up against his old team, so he's going to want to get revenge. I think Fnatic just have the better players all the way around. I think Sakurai is actually pretty decent too. And the last match is the other matchup of the week, is G2 Esports versus Origin. So, you know, Origin want to get the revenge against G2 for obviously having G2 obliterate, crush, destroy, and dismantle them in the LEC 2019 Spring Finals. Though, this time around, this matchup pretty much depends on the bot lane, because Caps being against Upset, it is different than Upset being up against someone like Perch, because we saw a complete, like, player skill difference when Perch was playing ADC versus Caps. I think Caps, in order to improve as an ADC, he's gonna have to actually do a little bit more different things, just like normal things AD carries are actually planning on doing. There's like aggressive ADCs, and then there's like passive ADCs. He's coming off as more of a ADC, like he knows what to do, but comes off in team fights as like that. But in lane, I don't think he understands the clear-cut high levels of AD carry so far, because we saw in week 1, he like got caught out in ganks pretty consistently, but you know, that's something that a lot of teams do. When you have a new guy somewhere, it's like a tendency to pick on them sometimes. So that could have been what it was, but overall, I'm gonna say that Origin could beat them. I mean, because let's be honest here, Origin did beat them when they were undefeated last spring, but I don't know. We have a good matchup here. We actually have a good matchup. This could be one of those really good epic games here. But my boys G2, I think, will come out on top. I think their macro sense is just a little bit more better later on during the game than Origin. And they do have the better players at the end of the day. Though the ADC position is the toss-up, because we don't really know the extent of how good Caps actually is so far. But that's pretty much it, actually. So, yeah, like, comment, subscribe, most of all, enjoy. What do you think about the LEC Week 2 matchups? Put your match of the week predictions in the description box below. Or if you have any comments, most people actually don't comment, so it's, okay, if I'm just going to talk to myself in the comment section below. But yeah, I'm really excited for this week, because after this week, I think I can truly accurately get a read about what these teams are. Well, not even just week 2. I think just basically by around week 4 or 5, I can kind of tell what these teams are, and kind of can tell how they're going to pan out during the rest of the year. But that's just my own personal opinions. But yeah, see you guys later. Have a good day. I'm the Nightwing. Way of Life Esports is signing out. Peace.
Hi there, guys. Be sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more stuff.
Yeah, thank you.